Hello. Hope everyone's having a great day, except for the people in Pennsylvania and Georgia who are suffering right now, waiting in anticipation for what's happening. Sorry, I'm looking to the sides to check out my lighting. I'm trying to play around with the lighting again, trying a new configuration and see if that helps. My face is always too bright on one screen or too dull. So, hopefully we're all having a good day. Ooh, that's not what I want to do. Been playing around for a while with this, for lack of a better word, JoeG.net broadcasting. The idea of this package is eventually this will be used as kind of like a Hootsuite replacement or any social media task thing. What it does essentially right now, at least, is it queries my YouTube channel for new videos and my blog for new posts. Once it finds new posts, it saves them and then sends out a tweet and or a post to my Facebook page with the new content. So ultimately what I plan to do is to add speaking engagements and other things to this so that I don't really have to do it. Once I schedule a talk to happen, it'll take care of all the social media stuff for me. On a side note, I also did it to learn a couple of things. Like this project uses a couple of new technologies to me. One is it uses Azure Event Store. I think it's Azure Event Store. Yeah, I've used Azure Configuration, Key Vault, which I've used before, but a couple of things trying to tie together this overall ecosystem together. So the project is in .NET 3.1, .NET Core 3.1, and it is comprised of a couple pieces. The functions is the main part of it. There are 6 or 7 functions in here broken out between collectors, Facebook, and Twitter. The idea is behind collectors is this is what goes out and grabs the data. So in this particular case, I have 2 series of connectors. One are called the feed collectors. It has a load new posts, which this one checks, has an Azure timer running that runs every 2 minutes. That checks to see if there are any new posts in the specified feed. Ultimately, I plan to make this generic so that anyone can use it, and it'll can post any XML feed. In this particular one, I'm using JSON, and then be able to handle it across whatever social media channels you want. The load all posts is a HTTP trigger. If I call the function, it will run and just gather all the posts at once and populate the database. The reason why I populate the database is because at some point I plan to schedule these tweets. So like, let's say I do a blog post today, which I did one about an hour ago. It'll say, okay, you did this one. I'm going to go and kind of republish it to social media in a week or 2 weeks, whatever I programmatically say. So instead of just constantly going out to websites, seeing what's new, it'll build a cache of them. And then pretty much the same thing for YouTube. These collectors then go and they create events that these 2 triggers subscribe to. One is the process source data. Source data is what I call when I get a new blog post or a new YouTube video. And then it kind of builds up something and sends it out. So the process source data pretty much calls this compose method, and the compose method builds out the text for it. And then the send tweet uses queues. The process new source data will create a queue message that the send tweet data will. And the same thing holds true for Facebook. And then these other projects kind of support it. So this JSON feed reader does the actual work of going out to the URL specified and then processing in this particular case the blog post, and then creating one or more source data elements. And these are all stored right now in Azure tables. And then when those are read, there is the event source, which I can show on Azure, that handles it and says, okay, go and do this now. And then this thing handles it. So I wanted to work on two different things today, and I don't know if I'll get to both of them. The first one is error handling. So over the weekend, I spent most of the time getting logging to work, which is why there was a blog post, if you've been following me on Twitter or any of the social media, around nlog and Azure functions. I found an issue with logging and, had a workaround. Luckily, someone from the nlog team reached out to me to try and figure it out and fix it. So there's that. But what I really want to do is now, when there's an actual application error, to send me some form of alert, because this is all running on Azure and Azure functions, and there's no real notification, at least to me, if there's something wrong. So in theory, the site can be running for days and having all kinds of errors, but I wouldn't know about it. And if there's any other problems with the site, I wouldn't know. Like I mentioned, this pulls YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, as well as my blog, and it should have tweeted out, the last 3 blog posts I made, but haven't. So I did some research into it yesterday, now that I have the logs, and found out it's because some of the date arithmetic I have is wrong. So gotta fix that. But I wanted to kind of mess around with the error handling, because right now, if there's errors, it just kind of blows up. Azure catches it, and then nothing happens. So I built out a nlog thing to capture errors. So this particular log here will capture any errors. I probably need to increase the font size a little bit. I get so used to working it on my screen, and I forget that when I broadcast, it comes out a lot smaller. Where are you, editor? Font, let's bump you up to 18. That should be big enough, usually. Doesn't look that much bigger, but you should be able to see it. So right now, it'll log out these files. Ultimately, I'm going to want it to maybe write it out to a file, or not a file, blob storage or application insights, which is kind of why I have this here, because I know I'm going to add application insights to it and write out that. These messages, or the different things I've been wanting to do, I've listed here in the issues. I've kind of gone through and started it. Some of this started with Hacktober, trying to get some people to help out with it. Luckily, I did get one of these documentation things done, but as I think of things, I've just been throwing them here. Oh, I didn't realize I had this issue opened. I created this twice. Duplicate. Now I can close it. I didn't want to reopen it. Let's delete that. And let's do duplicate and then close. And then, so you can take any one of these. So is there anyone watching? If you're watching and you want to watch any one of these, let me know. You can work on the error handling information. You can add application insights to it, which I don't have right now. And oh, I believe I did this one too already. I actually kind of want to fix the other issue I have. So let me open up the blog. Oh, I already got it open. So this is pretty much what I use for the blog. I run Jekyll on my blog or for my blog, and it just pretty much generates static content. I have this page, or where is it? Feed.json. This is generated dynamically, so it will generate the site, or sorry, Jekyll generates the site, and I have this feed.json, which will look through each of the pages or posts, which is what it's doing on line 21. Ignore the red, that's only because Visual Studio Code doesn't recognize it, and then kind of loops through each of the posts and lists details about it. It's like page size, link size, banner size, etc. Problem we have right here is this. The date published and the date modified are showing the date in they're showing the date without time. So for a post I did today, it's going to show 2020-05, or sorry, 11-05:000 or whatever the 00, which is okay, but defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. If I, on the site, am running and checking every 5 minutes or 10 minutes for any post created in the last 5 or 10 minutes, I'm never going to see this except for the, when the clock strikes 12, so to speak, and the day resets, which ultimately will never happen. So I gotta find out if there is a way to do this. So I'm gonna go and check the Jekyll documentation to see what fields are available on the post. Excerpts for page. No. I want post, not page. Creating posts, step by step. See what I can do with post excerpts now. There is one of the pages here that kind of lists all the page attributes, which is kind of what I want. Variables. Site variables, here it is, page variables. Page date. Oh. The date assigned for the post. This can be overwritten in post front matter by specifying a new date and time, assuming UTC, or I wonder what it doesn't, because I don't actually assign the dates to it. I let it automatically do that, and I wonder if that's the cause of it. So if I take a look at a sample post, let's take a look at the most recent one. Yeah, I don't have a date or time in the front matter, so it probably just throws in the date. It doesn't know like a build time or anything like that. So let's go and let's see if I can find anything else on this. Jekyll. All right, come on. Post.date. I know I can get the post, but I can't get the date of the last post. You want cite that time, which shows the exact time and date when the site was last generated. Yeah, I'll put same date. Interesting. I don't know if I really want the site time. I guess I probably need to add the date itself manually, especially if I want updates. But then it gets away from the more dynamic nature of it. Simple log. It's display dates, small liquid tag with no authentication. This is actually what I want right here, which is what it's doing. I just don't have a page date for it. So let's see what gets generated if I put in a page date. So let's go here. Title, header, categories. I think I can go with here. Let's do 2020-05 or 11-05. And what format do I need it in? Space, hour, minute, second. So what are we at? Hour. 1850.00 minus 0700. I believe. I think that's the right format. Oh. Minus 700. So that should give me the UTC time. Now I'm going to save this. I'm going to rebuild the site, which is JEK bundle execute JEKYLL serve. The funny thing was, or not so funny, I actually used to put the date in there and then figured the date gets generated automatically. Why bother? Now I actually need the date there. Which leads me to believe I have to kind of like post date the post so that the scheduling engine can pick it up. Once this is done, it should generate a new file. So I want to go to localhost 4000/JSON or feed.json. As you can see, I've ran this once or twice before. It's in my browser history. And it should be up by now. Usually takes about 15 seconds. So this is the last post, which is here's the ID, content HTML, URL, tags, and here's the date published and date modified. And the reason why I know that, because if we look at the previous one, which is this one here, it's always at time 00. And that's where the problem is. Even though I modified this one today, good. So at least I know what the fix is for that. But now I need to know what the modified date is. Jekyll post modified date. I probably have to create a custom tag for it, I bet. I decided to add a last modified date. The idea is to let readers know when it was published. Yeah, I figured that. GitHub Pages does not support, although it looks like they're working on it. You get around it by building locally and pushing to GitHub, but I didn't want to change my deployment process just for one gem. Oh, it's a separate plugin. I don't necessarily care about the plugin. I could change this, but I don't want to. I'm going to do this. So I'm going to add in now a page last modified at attribute. So this post I won't need it, but this one I will, because this one was actually technically modified. So let's do date and then do last modified date. And then this was created on the 3rd, so 2020-11-03. And let's say I created it at 12:00, but I modified it today, 11-11:05. And this one, let's just say I modified it at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock my time, which would be 1600. And I don't think I need the time zones or anything because I actually have that as part of my Jekyll config. So I need to modify this JSON file here. So let's see what the syntax of that was. There might be a cleaner way to do this, but I'm just going to copy this for now. If page that last modified, what did I call it? Last modified date. Then I want the Then I want this here. To be this. In case you're watching below, it's going a little crazy because it updates every time the page saves, and Visual Studio Code is constantly making updates to it. So I actually want this here. Get rid of this, and then get rid of that. So I will always write out the date published. If the last page, last modified date, meaning it has something, it's going to write that out. Otherwise, it's going to write out the post date. So save that. See if it generates and works. It's taking a while to generate that one. Done. So now if I go back to the browser, run this and refresh it. Let's see, this blog post, which was embedding, has the same date and time. This blog post does not. That's not cool. Last modified. Let's just make sure I got the names right with them. Last modified date. Control C, and let's go and update this one. It looked right. Let's make sure the code. I'm just going to put a -2 in here and a -1 in here just to see which one gets loaded. Colors don't look that bad. Let's try moving the light behind the monitor and see if that helps. As long as I'm not working on a white screen, or like when I'm on GitHub or something where there's no dark theme, the monitor really just does a number on the colors, unless I put it as maybe darken the brightness a little bit and see if that helps. I'm off from work next week, so I'm going to mess around a lot with the lighting in studio here. And by studio, I mean my work from home office. Date published, date modified 2, which is, I didn't see it. Date modified 2, so it's not recognizing that field. What do I have to do to add an extra field in there? Let's go back to that blog post and see if there's anything else I need to do. I didn't think there was anything. Typically, this is all you have to do. Last modified date is updated. I'll write a post leave blank if you're not copied. I don't think I actually have to do that. As if I want the post to see it. Unless there's some special field for custom variables. Any custom front matter that you specify, even, for example, if you specify this, yeah. If you specify front matter in a layout, access it via layout. For example, if you specify class full page in the layouts front manager, the value will be available as layout. I should be able to see this page. Oh, let's make sure I typed it right. If page, that last modified date, page last modified date, page last modified date. It's weird that this one is in a different color. Let's see what happens here. Last modified date 2020 11:05. Actually, this should have been 11:04. And let's do 1950. That could be why. Maybe it needs that extra bit, but yeah, probably doesn't care about seconds. So the date's there. Why is it not seeing it in the feed? Publication. Ooh, sorry. Oh. It's post, not page. Kept saying page to myself so many times that I actually made it the page. Now it should work. Hey, thank you, Nanin39, for the follow. It's nice to actually hear it while I'm talking. If you're in the chat, let me know where you heard the stream from, what brought you here. It's nice to talk to someone and not just talk to myself. Okay, that's done. Let's go and see what it looks like now. Modify to. That one still didn't pick up. Is it still oh, it's regenerating. I hit save too many times. That was generating the MD page. Now it's generating for the feed.json. Now it's done. There we go. That's better. Cool. So that's fixed now. So I can save those. And I'm going to publish these changes. But that doesn't stop the problem. At least that just enables it on my site to take care of it. Now I got to fix the Azure part to work with the newly qualified. Okay, that's done. I'll publish this afterwards because I can actually do most of the work locally. So let's go here. And I'm going to open up a new terminal one. Actually, I don't like doing it in terminal. I'll do it here. I have a script that starts up all the dependent services and stops them so that I get the right things running. CD projects / JoeG. I have to get in this directory. ls. Yep. / startup. This is actually going to run the Jekyll build behind the scenes and start that. So I got to make sure that it's stopped over here. Otherwise, we'll start getting port conflicts and everything else. Well, this is added. I might as well check it in. Git add dot git commit -m edit last modified dates to post and feed git push. Now let's go off to here and start this. I don't know what happens on the stream when that happens, but I just got an administrator dialog box, and that's because I started the Cosmos emulator, which requires admin access. I see my site is building right now, which is the same thing we did before. It started the Windows storage emulator, started Azure and Docker, and started the storage. Now it's generating our post. Once this is good, I should be able to come. I don't need this anymore, so I can actually close you. Should come to here, and things should start to work. But this is where we got to fix the problem. So right here, where are we? Collectors, feed, load all post. So here in the get async method, we are calling this JSON reader here, which says check for all posts by the time. The problem is, actually, this needs to be date published or date modified. And actually, I can do now date modified because they're the same thing. The since when is the bad part. So I got to change that here. Actually, I don't know if I need to change that here, because the date time is controlled by datetime now, which gets set. Where are you? Need this one. If we don't have one, we get last started at UTC now. I wonder if I need to do the UTC conversion. I think I save these as UTC dates. Let's check the model for source data. Yeah, date time offset, so it should have that in there. So in theory, it should be good. So let's go and load new post. That part is good. Where do I change the date? It looks like this all might work now. Let's see. Our date time that it started is going to be really way off. So let's see what's in there because I haven't run it locally in a while. Azure Storage Explorer, no. Actually, I can run the Storage Explorer. Come on. Let's go with local attached. This might not actually show the tables. I think it does. Yeah, here it is, configuration. This just sets a key value pair with the date time. So last time I ran this locally was a month and change ago because these posts were actually working and a lot of the time I was spending on making tweaks to it. So how many posts is this going to find? How many did I have? I shut this down. I think it's 3 or 4 by then. 27, so it should find 3 posts. So let's run this and see what it comes up with. Feed here. And we just want to run this one. And I'm going to breakpoint. I think I just breakpoint here. Actually, I'll breakpoint here because I want to see. I should be able to see from the configuration what it says. We're going to look for a configuration last checked feed. So let's debug this bad boy. Let's take a minute or so for Azure functions to start up. I realized something my last stream. I'm getting really good at budgeting water for a 60-minute talk. I almost know exactly how much to drink over 60 minutes with all the times I've spoken at conferences and other events. I know exactly when to drink, when not to drink. Cool. So I hit this. I don't know why there's a breakpoint up there. Originally had it there. So let's see. Configuration, last feed check, great. So we're going to go through and there's nothing new. Yeah, so we should have new items. So let's do function F10. Should get 3 new items in here. count is 3, which this shows me here, so I'm good. Function F10, or on the screen says step over 8. My keyboard configuration is different. So the thing I'm really curious about is the date and times. So I want to look at new items for a second. Added on 2:15. Oh, that's when I physically added it, which is just now. When is the published date? 1:50 a.m. Oh, that's great, because that's the UTC time. So that is good. Let's see this one. This one shouldn't matter because publication date is 11/3 at 12 o'clock, which is what I believe I set it for. But this, we're going to want to add a modified by, so I know that there's changes to update, but at least we're seeing the dates and times now. It's at 12 o'clock. What time was it? This post is the nlog post. Let's see, where are you in log? Oh, 12 o'clock. Oh, I didn't specify an offset. For these, I specified an offset. I thought I had that done here. Should have been a time zone here. Unless I remove that also. I guess I removed that. Must have really messed up the dates when I played around with it. Let's see if there's a way to set the default. Default configuration. Ignore theme, exclude, keep files, time zone. Set the time zone for site generation. This sets TZ variable with Ruby uses to handle a list of all available values. So let's see what I do if I change that. So I'm going to open this in new tab. Control F, Phoenix. So this is what I want to set it for. And what's the value? Time zone. So here, let's put this up towards the top where I have all the site settings. Let's do it here, because everything else up to this point is customized. Now over here, this is going to, I was going to say regenerate. That never happens. When you change the config.io or config.yaml, it doesn't restart. It's a limitation of the Ruby thing I read once. So JEKYLL, our bundler. Execute. Serve. Don't need to rebuild the whole site each time. Parameters deprecated, but it told me to use that parameter. Well, let's see what it generates now in my JSON file. See, it should be started by now. Double check. Not you. Still generating. 46 seconds this time. Let's go off to here. Hit refresh. Interesting. So these have the -7s in them, and I didn't put it in there. So somehow it knows. Oh, I wonder if it's in the feed.json. Did I have to put something in here? Feed description, icon expires. No. I didn't know. Oh. Thought that was an extra dash. I didn't know to. Why is it showing -7? Unless this Ruby or this liquid thing is automatically putting it in there. Let's see if all the other ones have it. Ones I didn't update. That's a big one. Oh, this one is -7. Well, they all have -7 now, so I'm gonna stop this bad boy and then restart it and see what happens. Stop. Don't need the breakpoint there anymore. Debug this. I think we want the breakpoint to be here now. Really, I don't care about that breakpoint anymore. Should still have 3 items, which I do. So let's see what they look like. List, source data, 150 plus 0, which is fine. There's 1. 12 p.m. 11:03, which is I think I set it for. 12:04, 12 a.m., which is fine because no time is set for that one. So it just automatically assumes that. Okay. So this should fix anything. The only thing I don't know if it's what's going to be different is if what Azure functions are going to see him as, but I think we got it working now with that new change. The only way to really test it is by me putting together another blog post or resetting it. So I might play around with that tonight or tomorrow. I think that was it. I can go and commit these changes now. What did I do? Oh. Undid. Actually, let's do 2 changes. This one. Undo nlog team debugging, commit and push. And then updated JSON feed reader to check modified date for post. Cool. So next time I do a blog post, it should automatically go because I have this wired up to GitHub Actions that publishes it every time. The same thing with my site. So if we go to my site now and just change this to josephguadagno.net, those feed changes should be in there. 105 on the 5th, 240 in the 6th, so that's good. There's no time zones for that. That's good. Cool. So now I have to go back and just update all the previous sites or remember to go and do that. So that's cool. I think I'm not gonna close this item, but I am going to double check it with my next post and then I can close this issue. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for attending. Hopefully you learned something. If not, it was nice hanging out with you. Have a great day. Bye.